Alright guys, welcome back to another horror room movie review, and today is The Devil's Rejects from 2005. And this movie had a budget of $7 million, made back $19 million, so I would say that this was a successful movie. And I can't really remember because I watched it on DVD, so I can't remember if it was released in all the theaters or it was a limited release, but it's definitely a cult classic, and this, along with House of a Thousand Corpses, is definitely Rob Zombie's masterpiece. I mean, the two movies combined just tell a great story, and the characters are so unique, they just stick with you. And even before I watched this movie again, there were a few scenes that I instantly remembered. Just the hotel scene, the Freebird scene, the scene where the sheriff captures the family members and tortures them. Just certain scenes like that will stick with you forever, really. And that's a sign of I guess a great movie or a really disturbing movie, either one, but there are some scenes where you feel like, I gotta take a shower after watching this movie. So it's not really for the faint of heart, but it is a fantastic movie, and I think it's better to wait a few years in between watching this one. It's not a movie you want to watch over and over again. You want to give it time, and then when you go back to it, you're like, man, that's just awesome. It's just such a great movie. And there are scenes where Rob Zombie is trying to, I guess, relieve the tension by adding some comedy after a really disturbing scene like the hotel scene. He'll try and add some comedy to it. So there is some funny moments in a movie like this, which is really surprising, but it works here. Everything works here. So the movie starts off, and it's 1978, and just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's going to give you a little description about what's been going on. And Sheriff Wydell, who was the brother, if you remember House of a Thousand Corpses, the cop who goes in the house to ask Mother Firefly some questions, and while Don and the deputy find the bodies in the shed out back, they radio into him, and when he goes to get the call, Mother Firefly shoots him in the head. This is his brother. So he wants revenge, obviously, which is kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, but it's different enough to where I wouldn't say, oh my god, he's copying Texas Chainsaw 2. So Sheriff Wydell leads a search and destroy on the farmhouse. They find evidence of 75 murders, and they called the people responsible the Devil's Rejects. So it cuts back to the movie, and we see all of this play out. We see Tiny dragging a body through the woods, and the police show up. And the family are prepared for this. They have these armored masks. Rufus has an entire suit made of armor, and they have all these guns, and they're ready. They're not going to give up. They're going to go out in a blaze of glory, I guess, or at least try to escape, buy themselves some time. But the point is, they're prepared. So they end up getting into a shootout with the police, and I do have to say, one thing I noticed here was Grandpa is missing. I just assume he died of natural causes. That's just what I'm going to say. I mean, it's never really explained, so that's just what I came up with. But the sheriff is ready for this fight. He says it's going to be 100% Alabama ass kicking. And during the shootout, Rufus ends up getting killed. So the mom stays behind, and she doesn't want to leave her son. He's dying. Otis and baby take off, and the sheriff comes in, and the mother grabs a pistol. She's going to kill herself. She's not going to be taken. No bullets. So she gets taken into custody. And then we get the intro where we see Otis and baby escaping. They have a whole escape planned, tunnels and all types of crap. So they escape. Baby lays in the middle of the road. A woman drives by, sees her, stops, and when she gets out of the car, Otis kills her. So now they have a vehicle. And we see the sheriff searching the house, and then it cuts to Captain Spaulding, who's having a sex dream. He's having sex with a prostitute who he ends up pissing off, so she kills him in his dream. And he wakes up, and his girlfriend says, "Did you have a nightmare? Or did you have a bad dream?" And he says, 50-50. So another movie with just tons of great lines from all these characters, just like House of a Thousand Corpses. And he gets a call from baby, and we find out he's their father. Captain Spaulding is the dad of Otis and baby. And they have they have a plan set up for this. They're going to meet at this hotel, so they were prepared just in case something like this ever happened. They have a hotel set up where they're going to go meet, and Captain Spaulding says he's on his way. And then we see Ken Foree from Dawn of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw 3, and most importantly, Kenan and Kel. He runs a brothel with his, I guess it's his, just an employee, like an assistant or something. I can't remember his name in the movie, but it's Michael Berryman from Hills Have Eyes. And he runs a brothel, and he's talking about how they need to increase business. So he's telling one of the prostitutes, we got to do something. We got to bring in some money here. And she says, maybe I can dress up like Princess Leia and we can get all these Star Wars fans. And he says, oh, you mess with people like that, and it's just going to get really weird around here. You're going to have a bunch of people who want to be robots, and the last thing I need is a bunch of horny robots running around here. So he has a lot of great dialogue in this movie. But Captain Spaulding calls him and tells him he's stopping by. And then we see this band, the Banjo and Sullivan Show. And they're touring around, and they're stopped at this hotel. And Baby comes up and seduces the singer, while Otis sneaks up behind him with a pistol and forces him to take them back to the hotel room. So, back at the hotel room, we get Roy, the singer, his wife, Adam, and his wife Whitney. And his wife is actually in the shower while all of this is taking place. And their roadie, who was played by Brian Posehn, I can't remember his name, who's out getting ice. So Otis is in the hotel room. He's got these people, and they have no idea what to do. They're freaking out. All of a sudden, Brian Posehn knocks on the door, and Otis is like, who the hell is that? So he goes to open the door, and he gets him in the house, gets him in the hotel room, and he just shoots him straight in the face. And then Adam pukes all over the place. This part was kind of funny, just because you know Brian Posehn was in this movie just because he's such a huge fan of horror movies. Like, he probably just begged Rob Zombie to be in this one. So it was kind of funny. But then it just gets really disturbing. Well, first it cuts to Captain Spaulding, who hijacks a car. And this was kind of a funny scene here, because he gets in the car and he knocks out this kid's mom. And then he steals the car and he looks at the kid and says, you better tell me why you hate clowns. And the kid can't say anything. He's obviously scared to death. And Captain Spaulding says, I'm going to come back here, and if you don't have a reason why you hate clowns, I'm going to kill your entire family. Just a psychopath. So back at the hotel room, we get, for me personally, one of the, and I've seen a lot of horror movies, but this is one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever seen. So all I'm going to say is Otis molests Roy's wife, and leave it at that. So the sheriff interrogates Mother Firefly, and she's talking about how she killed his brother. This obviously pisses him off. He slaps her, and he says he's going to kill her entire family. Otis takes Roy and Adam out into the desert. Apparently he's got some weapons buried out there, and he needs them to help dig it up. And I have to say, Otis is full-blown Charles Manson. I'm not exact. In House of a Thousand Corpses, he had like this stringy hair, and it was, he kind of looked like the Crypt Keeper. I mean, he looked like a corpse, basically. And here, he looks like Rob Zombie and Charles Manson. So, he's just completely Charles Manson mode. And he takes them out into the desert. They try to fight him, and he ends up fighting them off. He shoots Adam in the neck. He tells Roy that he's the devil and he's here to do the devil's work. And then he beats Roy to death and stabs Adam to death. So back at the hotel, Baby makes Whitney hit Roy's wife in order to go to the bathroom. She tries to call for help when she's in there, and Roy's wife gets the gun, but Baby throws a knife at her and stabs her in the heart. And then Whitney runs out of the bathroom and tries to escape, She actually gets out of the hotel room, but of course she runs into Captain Spaulding, who just knocks her out. So Sheriff Wydell hires a film expert and learns about the Firefly's aliases and how they're all from Groucho Marx movies. The film expert actually insults Elvis about how he stole the headlines from Groucho Marx's death, and this really pisses off the sheriff. You do not insult Elvis. It seemed to me that he was more pissed off at the film expert for insulting Elvis than he was at Mother Firefly for talking about killing his brother. Which was kind of funny. And Otis comes back with the face of Adam. He's wearing the face. And he leaves it on Whitney, and the family members leave in the Banjo and Sullivan van. So the next day, the maid is cleaning the hotel room, and she sees the bodies, and as she turns to leave, she opens the door, and Whitney is hung up on the back of the door wearing Adam's face. She's freaking out. She jumps down onto the maid, and the maid is, of course, freaking out. She doesn't know what the hell's going on. She just saw 2 dead bodies, and now this creepy person is attacking her, or something. And Whitney's not saying anything. I guess maybe she was gagged. I'm not really sure. All I know is Whitney runs out of the hotel room. She's freaking out, running down the street, and ends up getting hit by a truck. But she never takes the mask off. She never once removes it and says, "Hey, it's me, I'm a victim, I'm a normal woman." No, she's just running down the street acting like a crazy person. And yes, I know she went through a traumatic experience, but she was fine, and once they left, then she became crazy? So, I don't know. But the sheriff he hires Danny Trejo and DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, these 2 hired guns, to go help look for the family members, because he really wants to get them, and he plans to kill them. He's not going to go by the book on this one. So the family is driving the van, and they stop for ice cream. Now I know what Rob Zombie's trying to do here. He's trying to add a funny scene, and it was funny, but he's trying to make these characters human. And it just ain't gonna happen. These people are so sick. I'm rooting for the sheriff. And I just don't... I know he's trying to make us like these characters and want to see the Devil's Rejects. I don't know what, but I just do not care. I have no sympathy for these characters. They deserve everything they get in this entire movie. So I do notice there are some scenes where he's trying to say, oh, you know, they're really not that bad. No, they are that bad. They are horrible, horrible villains. So the sheriff gets a call from Danny Trejo, and he finds out about Charlie Kinforey, the brothel owner. And he knows about Captain Spaulding, so they're thinking maybe they're going to head up there. We'll go check it out, ask him some questions. So the sheriff, he's starting to lose it. He goes to see Mother Firefly, and he's pissed. He's not there to talk this time. He just stabs her. So he kills Mother Firefly. And then we see the family who shows up at Charlie's, and they start partying. And we see them drinking, and Captain Spaulding's doing cocaine. They're just having a good time while the sheriff loses his mind. He's getting crazier, crazier. He's talking to himself in the mirror. He's going through the motions of what he's going to do once he finds the family members. And he just plans to kill them all. He's having these nightmares about his brother, and he's just really sinking into madness to get these characters. And like I said, I'm actually rooting for the sheriff here because, damn it, somebody's got to come after these people, and they're going to have to be crazier than they are. So, the next day, Charlie and Michael Berryman go to pick up some chickens. This was another funny scene. And the sheriff stops them. He tells Charlie to make sure all 3 of the family members are at his place at midnight, or he's going to come and make things hard for Charlie or kill him or something like that. So that night, the family's all getting wasted again. Otis has one of the girls. Captain Spaulding's doing more cocaine. And I think Baby is drinking. Trejo and DDP come in with some gangsta shit. Oh man, these two characters are awesome. I really like these two guys, the mercenaries. They come in, and Danny Trejo just comes in like a ninja and just kills one of the prostitutes. So I guess they don't care who's in their way. And DDP comes in and he shoots one of the prostitutes when she pulls a gun on him. He's just laughing, and Otis is like, oh shit. So yeah, these two characters were pretty awesome. And the sheriff shows up and shoots Captain Spaulding in the leg. So they load them up in front of Charlie. And I'm thinking, damn, Charlie, at least pretend you were captured or something. Why let the Devil's Rejects see that you just completely sold them out? I mean, why just be standing there? At least act like you were injured or something, or hit from behind. I mean, don't just say, hey, yeah, I sold you out while you stand there smoking a cigar. So he goes back in the house, and Charlie heads in, and he's going to find out that they killed his two best prostitutes. Because at this point, I don't think he knows that. But anyways, the family is taken to the farmhouse. We never see DDP or Danny Trejo again, but the sheriff takes them to the farmhouse, and he starts stapling pictures of their victims onto their chest. And he shows Baby the pictures of Mother Firefly and how he killed her. He knocks out Captain Spaulding with a taser. He nails Otis's hands to the chair, just like Texas Chainsaw 3. And then he lets Baby go while he sets the house on fire. So Baby's running, he's chasing after her with an axe, and he's making her feel like a victim. He's making her feel like they made all these other poor people feel. And Charlie shows up and he tries to help Baby, but the sheriff appears behind him with an axe and just kills Charlie. I'm not really sure why Baby would trust him anyways, but the sheriff kills Charlie, and he shoots Baby as she tries to run off. He shoots her in the leg, and then he comes over and he tries to strangle her, and then Tiny reappears. He breaks the sheriff's neck, and he's dead. So he goes into the burning house, and he rescues Otis and Captain Spaulding, and I'm thinking, wouldn't Tiny be afraid of fire? Like, wouldn't that be his weakness? But he comes in the house and he saves the family members. And they get into a car and they drive away while Tiny goes back into the house and it blows up. So Tiny's gone now. And then we get the Freebird scene. And this scene is epic. And I don't like to just throw that word around, but this scene here is epic. It is an awesome, awesome scene. It's something you will remember forever. It's just so badass. And what it is it's basically Otis driving the car. Captain Spaulding and Baby are in the back seat, and they're all bleeding, and they're kind of knocked out. And Otis is driving the car, and they're playing Freebird, and it's showing, I guess, home movie clips of Otis, Captain Spaulding, and Baby together. And once again, another scene to make you feel sorry for these characters, but definitely not going to work. And it shows these home movies, and then it's all moving in slow motion, and Otis stops the car, and then we see a line of police cars in front of him. And they all have guns pointed, and they're ready to just take these guys down. And Otis hands Captain Spaulding a gun, he hands Baby a gun, they're getting ready to go out in a blaze of glory, which I kind of thought was weird because the deputy has a sniper rifle, so he could obviously see them preparing to fight back, and could at least shoot one of them in the head since they're not moving. But they all get these guns, and they go out in a blaze of glory. They're driving and they're shooting, and they get blasted full of holes. And that's how the movie ends. So it was a really, really cool scene. Great way to end the movie. Rob Zombie killed off these characters. He could always come back. It's been a long time since he came back to this series. He could do a prequel or something, but I would prefer that he doesn't, just because House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects just should never be touched. Just let it be what it is and make new movies. I know he uses some of the same characters in, I think, Lords of Salem, some of his other movies, and just do things like that, but you should never touch this franchise again. It's just, it started off great, it ended great, just leave it. So yeah, I really, really did enjoy this movie. Like I said, this is Rob Zombie's masterpiece. It would be very, very tough for him to ever do anything as good as this. So anyway, that's my review of The Devil's Rejects. It's the last movie in my Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, and I did these two movies because they are so similar to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. Not so much this one, but definitely House of a Thousand Corpses. But I wanted to do these two movies because they are a couple of my favorite horror movies. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. I'll be back next week with a brand new series to do. So hope you guys check that one out too. And leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Bye.